The Vampire King bit me by mistake at the masquerade. Now he cannot stop looking for me. The invitation came on black paper with gold writing. You are kindly invited to the Midnight Masquerade at Thornwood Manor. I ran my fingers over the fancy letters. My heart beat fast. Clara had asked me many times to go to this special Halloween party. Somehow she got 2 tickets. The manor was famous in our town. It was a big old Gothic house on the hill. The Ashford family lived there. They were quiet people. They only came out once a year for this party. Isabel, you are wearing the red dress, right? Clara's voice came through my phone while I held the invitation. I am not sure if I should go, I said. I looked at myself in the mirror. My dark hair fell in soft waves past my shoulders. My green eyes looked worried. Are you joking? This is the biggest party of the year, and it is a masquerade. No one will even know it is you. That was the reason I decided to go. On the night of the masquerade, Thornwood Manor shone with candlelight. Stone gargoyles sat on the corners of the old building. Their eyes seemed to watch our car as we drove closer. The autumn air was cool. It smelled of dry leaves and something sweet and metallic that I could not name. I fixed my red mask. It covered the top half of my face with soft lace and small red stones. My red silk dress fit close to my body and then fell to the floor. It made me feel like a different person, someone brave, someone full of mystery. This is amazing, Clara said next to me. Her blue butterfly mask sparkled under the big lights as we walked into the large ballroom. She was right. The ballroom was beautiful and old-fashioned. The high ceilings had pictures of the sky and stars. The marble floors shone with the light of many candles. Guests wore fancy costumes. Some looked like people from long ago. Others looked like dark fantasy characters. A group of 4 musicians played a soft, sad song. Masked people danced and moved around the floor. I am getting champagne, Clara said. She walked into the crowd before I could stop her. I stood alone. Even with my mask, I felt a little open and nervous. I walked to the side of the ballroom. I looked at the pictures of the Ashford family on the walls. They all had the same sharp faces, long noses, and very pale skin. They are beautiful, are they not? The voice was soft and deep, like dark velvet. It made me shiver. I turned and saw a man standing next to me. My breath stopped for a moment. He was tall. He wore all black. His suit looked very expensive. His mask was simple black leather. It hid his face, but I could still see the strong line of his jaw, and the pale blonde hair that fell past his collar. The candlelight made his hair shine like gold, but his eyes held me. They were pale blue, almost silver. They looked so strong that I felt he could see past my mask and into my heart. The pictures, he said with a small smile in his voice. You were looking at them. Oh, yes, I said. My voice sounded soft and out of breath. Your family. Something moved across his face. In a way, he said, I am Lucian. Isabel, I answered before I could stop myself from saying my real name. Isabel, he said again. The way he spoke my name made it sound special. Would you like to dance? I should have said no. I should have gone to find Clara, but something about him pulled me toward him like I had no choice. His hand was cool when he took mine. He led me to the dance floor. When we started to move, the rest of the room seemed to disappear. He danced as if he had danced for hundreds of years. He guided me easily through every step. You are not like the other people here, Lucian said softly. How would you know? Everyone is wearing masks. Masks only hide faces. They do not hide who a person really is. You have a light about you. It is very strong. The way he said the last words made my stomach feel warm. We danced through 3 songs. With every song, I felt myself falling under his spell. His touch, his smell of wood and something wild, and his presence filled all my thoughts. Would you like some air? He asked when the musicians stopped for a break. I nodded. He led me through the glass doors onto a terrace under the moonlight. The garden beyond looked beautiful and a little scary. There were marble statues and dark roses that still bloomed in late October. "This place is like something from a dream," I said. I leaned against the stone rail. "Or a nightmare," Lucian answered. He stood close enough that I could feel the cold coming from him. "Tell me, Isabel, do you believe in monsters?" I laughed a little nervously. "Like Halloween monsters? Ghosts and vampires?" "Exactly like that." Something in his voice made me turn to look at him. His face was serious and almost sad. "They are just stories," I said softly. "Are they not?" He stepped closer, close enough that I could see my face in his pale eyes. "What if I told you that some stories are warnings, that some monsters walk among us, hidden behind masks, much better than the ones people wear tonight?" My heart beat fast. I could not tell if it was from fear or excitement. "Then I would say they are doing a good job of hiding." "Not good enough," he whispered. His hand rose and held my face. His thumb touched my cheek, just under my mask. "Not from you." He leaned in. I lifted my face, waiting for a kiss. But at the last second, I moved a little. His lips missed mine. His face pressed against my neck instead. Everything happened very fast. I felt a sharp, hot pain in my throat. Lucian pulled back with a gasp. His hand covered his mouth. His eyes were wide with shock. In the moonlight, I saw it clearly. Blood on his lips. My blood. "No," he said, looking at me as if I was both his hope and his end. "No, this cannot be. I did not mean." I pressed my hand to my neck. I felt warm blood. 2 small holes. My mind could not understand what had happened. It could not match the facts with what I thought was real. "What did you do?" I whispered. Pain showed on his face, then something darker. Hunger. He took a step toward me. I saw his teeth, long, pointed ones that had not been there before. "Isabel, I need you to listen very carefully," he said. His voice was tight. "You need to leave now. Do not come back here. Forget you ever met me. You bit me. You are actually— Go." The word came out like an order. Something in his tone broke the hold that had kept me there. I ran. I ran through the ballroom. I ignored Clara's surprised calls. I ran to our car. My hand stayed on my neck. I ran from the impossible truth that vampires were real, and one had just bitten me. What I did not know then was that a vampire bite makes a bond, an unbreakable link that would follow Lucian every moment until he found me again. And he would find me. He had no choice, because I was not just anyone. By the old laws of his kind, I was now his soul-bound, the one human whose blood called to him above all others, the one human who could either save him or destroy everything he had built over 500 years. 3 days passed since the masquerade. I started to think I had imagined the whole thing. Maybe someone put something in the champagne. Maybe I had some kind of strange break from reading too many late-night vampire stories. Except for the marks on my neck. They were small and hard to see, but they were there. 2 tiny dots that had healed a little and now looked like insect bites. I told Clara I had scratched myself on an earring. She believed me, probably because any other idea was crazy. I tried to go back to normal life. I taught my 2nd grade class. I graded papers. I pretended my world had not turned upside down. But every night I dreamed of him, of Lucian, of pale blonde hair and silver eyes, and a voice that wrapped around my soul like soft cloth. On the 4th night, things changed. I was grading homework at my kitchen table when the lights blinked, once, twice. Then they went out completely. "Great," I said. I reached for my phone light. That is when I felt it. The same presence from the masquerade. The air felt heavier. The temperature dropped so fast I could see my breath. I turned around fast. My phone fell to the floor. Lucian stood in my living room. He looked exactly as he had that night, without the mask. In the weak light from the street lamps outside, his blonde hair seemed to glow. His pale eyes stayed on me with a strength that made my knees feel weak. "How did you get in here?" I asked. I grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter. "How do you know where I live?" I have been trying to stay away, he said. His voice sounded rough and full of pain. For 3 days I fought it. But the bond, I can feel you, Isabel. Every heartbeat, every breath. I know when you are sleeping, when you are afraid, when you are thinking of me. The knife shook in my hand. That is not possible. Is it not? He took a step closer. I saw dark circles under his eyes, and the tight look in his shoulders. You feel it too, do not lie. You have been dreaming of me. I had, every single night. Clear dreams that left me waking up with his name on my lips. What did you do to me? I whispered. Lucian ran a hand through his hair. The movement looked so human that for a moment I forgot what he was. I bit you, not on purpose. I swear to you I thought I had full control. I have not fed on a human in over 100 years, but when I went to kiss you and you moved, instinct took over. Fed on? I could not finish the sentence. You are really a vampire. I am the Vampire King, he said quietly. Lucian Ashford, first of my line, 543 years old. And you, Isabel Chen, are my soulbound. I laughed a strange, high laugh. You are what? It happens once in a vampire's life if they are lucky, or unlucky, depending on how you see it. He walked to my couch and sat down hard, as if he carried a heavy weight. When we taste the blood of our perfect match, it makes an unbreakable bond. I am drawn to you now, always. I can sense you anywhere in the world, and the longer I am apart from you. What? His eyes met mine. I saw real fear there. The bloodlust grows. You are all I can think about, all I can smell, taste, want. If I stay away too long, I will lose control completely. I could hurt innocent people trying to fill a need that only you can meet. The knife slipped from my fingers and fell onto the counter. So what? I'm just supposed to let you feed on me? I am your personal blood bag now? Pain crossed his face. No, God, no. That is not why I am here. I am here to tell you I am leaving. I have homes all over the world. I will go somewhere far away, somewhere I can lock myself up so I cannot hurt anyone. Before, how long? Forever, if I must. We looked at each other across my small living room. The heavy feeling of something impossible hung between us. There has to be another way, I said at last. There is. His voice was almost too quiet to hear. You could accept the bond. Let me feed from you. Just small amounts. It would keep the craving under control. Keep me in control. And what do I get from this deal, besides being a vampire's juice box? A small smile touched his lips. My blood is in your system now. You will age more slowly, heal faster, be stronger. You will live for centuries if you choose. And, he stopped for a moment, I would protect you, care for you. My soulbound is the most precious thing in the world to me. I would burn the world before I let anything hurt you. It should have sounded strange and scary. Instead, it sent a warm thrill through me that I did not want to look at too closely. I need to think, I said. Of course. He stood up. He moved toward my window with a grace that was not human. But Isabel, please decide soon. I can feel my control slipping every hour. I do not want to, his voice broke. I do not want to become the monster I have spent centuries fighting against. Then he was gone. Only a soft cold air and the smell of sandalwood stayed behind. I did not sleep that night. Instead, I did what any thinking person would do when faced with something beyond the normal world. I looked for information. The internet was no help. It was full of young vampire love stories and wild theories. But I remembered my grandmother's old books, packed away in my closet. She had loved folklore and old myths. My parents had always felt a little embarrassed by it. At 3 in the morning, I found what I was looking for in a leather journal she had kept. Notes about vampires, written in her thin handwriting. The ancient ones are not like the movies show. They are bound by strict laws. The most sacred is the soul-bound bond. Once made, it cannot be broken except by death. The vampire will be drawn to their soul-bound with great force. But beware. The bond goes both ways. The human will want the vampire's presence just as strongly. They will find no peace in ordinary life. It is a curse and a blessing. this endless connection. My hands shook as I read. Was that why I could not stop thinking about him? Why my dreams were full of silver eyes and pale blonde hair? A crash from outside made me jump. I ran to the window. I saw a figure in my backyard. Lucian on his knees. His hands held his head. I was outside before I could think twice, barefoot on the cold grass. Lucian. He looked up at me. I gasped. His eyes were no longer silver, but pure black. His face was twisted in pain. "Run," he said through his teeth. "Please, Isabel, run. I cannot hold it back." But I did not run. Against all sense and self-protection, I knelt beside him. I put my hand on his cold cheek. "Then do not hold it back," I whispered. His eyes widened. A flash of silver came back. "You do not know what you are offering. I read about the bond, about what happens when you fight it." I pushed my hair aside. I showed my neck. "I am choosing this. I am choosing you. Just promise me something. Promise me this is real, that I am not just a food source to you." He pressed it to his chest. No heartbeat, just as I had expected. Feel that. No heart has beaten in this chest for over 5 centuries. But when I am near you, I swear I can feel it, trying to start again. You are not just my soul-bound, Isabel. You are the first person in 500 years who has made me feel human. I leaned in. This time, when his lips found my neck, I did not pull away. The bite was nothing like before. There was a sharp pinch, then warmth spread through my whole body, like liquid gold. I gasped. My fingers tangled in his soft blonde hair as he drank. It should have been terrifying. It should have hurt, but instead it felt right, complete. When he pulled back, his eyes were silver again, clear and focused. He licked the wound. I felt it close under his tongue. It healed almost at once. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. He looked at my face with care. I nodded. I felt strangely happy and light. "That was close," he finished. "The bond is sealed now, fully. Do you feel it?" I did. I could sense his feelings, as if they were my own. Relief, desire, and under it all, a strong protectiveness that took my breath away. "What happens now?" I asked. Lucian helped me to my feet. He steadied me when I swayed. "Now I suppose I court you properly. Take you to dinner, though I will not be eating. Get to know everything about you. Prove that I am worthy of this great gift you have given me. You are asking me to date you, the Vampire King." A real smile crossed his face. It changed him from beautiful to completely stunning. "I am asking you to give us a chance. No more secrets, no more running. Just you and me, figuring out what it means that after 500 years of life, I have finally found the other half of my soul." He brushed a strand of hair from my face with a gentleness that made my heart hurt. "What do you say, Isabel Chen? Will you let a monster love you?" I thought about my quiet, ordinary life, my regular days teaching spelling and numbers, my lonely evenings grading papers. Then I looked at this impossible being in front of me, ancient and powerful, yet open in a way that spoke to something deep inside me. "I do not see a monster," I said softly. "I see someone who has been alone for a very long time, someone who fought against his nature to protect me, someone whose soul knew mine across all the impossible odds." I took his cool hand in mine. "Yes, Lucian Ashford, I will give us a chance." But as we stood there in my moonlit backyard, neither of us knew that accepting the bond had started other things moving. The vampire world had strict laws about soulbounds. Not everyone would be happy that their king had bound himself to a human. The real challenges were only beginning. The next 2 weeks were the strangest of my life. By day I taught my second graders their multiplication tables and read them stories. By night I entered a world I never knew existed. Lucian kept his word about courting me the right way. He took me to his private library full of first-edition books from many centuries. He taught me about vampire history, the wars, the agreements, the careful balance kept with the human world. He showed me his world carefully and gently. He always made sure I felt safe, and he fed from me 3 times. Each time was stronger than the last. I was starting to want it as much as he did. The close link when his bite joined us together. But tonight, everything would change. There is something I need to tell you, Lucian said as we sat in his study at Thornwood Manor. A fire burned in the marble fireplace. His blonde hair shone in the firelight as he walked back and forth. My council has learned about you, about our bond. I set down my wine glass, and they are not happy. It is complicated. He ran a hand through his hair. I had learned that meant he was worried. Vampire law says a soul bound must be protected at all costs. But there is another law, an older one. It says a human soul bound must make a choice within 1 month of the bond being sealed. What choice? He turned to face me. His silver eyes looked troubled. To become a vampire, or to have the bond cut? The words hit me like a hard blow. Cut? You said it could not be broken except by death. There is a ritual, he said quietly. Old magic done by the council. It would break the bond, erase your memories of me, return you to your normal life. You would be free, and I, pain crossed his face, I would stay bound to you forever, able to sense you but never come near you. Loving someone who does not remember I exist, it is seen as the cruelest punishment in our world, save for the worst criminals. I stood up. Anger filled me. Then why are they making me choose? Why can we not just keep going as we are? Because the bond makes you weak. He came to me. He took my hands in his cool ones. My enemies could use you against me. The council believes that either you should become one of us, able to protect yourself with vampire powers, or the bond should be broken for your own safety. That is not fair. No, he agreed softly, it is not. But these laws have existed for thousands of years. Even as king, I cannot simply ignore them. The council is coming tomorrow night for your answer. I pulled away from him. I moved to the window. Outside, the grounds of Thornwood Manor stretched into the dark, beautiful and alone. What if I do not want either option? What if I do not want to become a vampire, but I also do not want to forget you? Then we run, Lucian said from behind me. I will give up my throne, leave my people, and we will disappear. But Isabel, they will hunt us. You will spend your life running, hiding, never able to have a normal life. I turned to face him. And if I become a vampire, what then? Then you would be my queen. You would rule beside me forever. You would have power, immortality, everything I could give you. But you would have to give up the sun, your family, in time, as you watch them grow old and die, your humanity. It is not a decision to make lightly. And if I choose to break the bond, the pain in his eyes was answer enough, but he spoke anyway. Then I will know I loved you enough to set you free. You will go back to your life, never knowing that somewhere in the world, a monster loves you more than his own life. Tears filled my eyes. How am I supposed to make this choice? It is my humanity or my heart. I know, he whispered. He pulled me into his arms. And I am sorry. I am so sorry I brought this into your life. If I could go back to that masquerade, if I could have just one moment of control, then we never would have found each other, I finished. And even with everything, I cannot wish that away. He held me as I cried. For the first time I felt wetness on my own cheek that was not my tears. I looked up and saw Lucian crying. Real tears sliding down his perfect face. I did not know you could cry, I whispered. I have not been able to in centuries, not until you. He held my face in his hands. You have made me feel everything again, Isabel. Joy, fear, hope, love, real love, not the weak copy I knew before. Whatever you decide tomorrow, know that you have given me the greatest gift. You have reminded me what it means to be alive. I did not sleep that night. I went home to my small apartment and sat among the life I had built. Photos of my family, my parents who would be heartbroken to lose me, my students' drawings covering my refrigerator, the normal life I had always valued, but it all felt empty now, like a picture of a life rather than a real one. Clara called around midnight. Hey, stranger, you've been missing a lot lately. New boyfriend? If only she knew. Something like that, I said. Well, bring him to dinner this weekend. I'm dying to meet the guy who has you so distracted you forgot our Thursday movie night. I closed my eyes. Clara, if you had to choose between a safe, normal life and a dangerous one with someone you love, what would you pick? That's heavy for midnight, she laughed. Then more seriously, I guess it depends. How much do you love him? Is it the kind of love worth changing your whole world for? Yes, I whispered. It really is. Then that is your answer, Bella. Life is too short for safe, if it means losing the person who makes your soul sing. If only she knew how truly true that was. After we hung up, I pulled out my grandmother's journal again. I read her notes by candlelight. On the last page I found something I had missed before. If you are reading this, it means the impossible has happened. You have entered their world. I know because it happened to me too once long ago. I chose humanity. I chose to break the bond. And I spent every day since wondering if I made the right choice. I cannot tell you what to decide. That path is yours alone. But know this, a life without love is death by another name. And immortality means nothing if you are dead inside. My hands shook. My grandmother had been soul-bound. She had known all along that this world existed. I searched through her things and found it. Hidden in the back of an old photo album. A picture of a young woman who looked very much like me, standing next to a handsome man with dark hair and eyes that seemed too knowing for the time of the photograph. On the back in her handwriting, Marcus and me, 1952, my greatest love, my deepest regret. She had chosen to break the bond, and she had regretted it for the rest of her life. The council arrived at Thornwood Manor exactly at midnight. They were frightening. 6 ancient vampires who made even Lucian look young. They sat in a half-circle in the grand ballroom, their eyes fixed on me with different levels of interest and dislike. Isabel Chen, the oldest, spoke, a woman with white hair and eyes like pieces of ice. You have been given a month to decide your fate. What is your choice? Will you join our kind, or shall we perform the severance ritual? I stood before them, Lucian beside me, his hand holding mine tightly. Before I answer, I said, glad that my voice did not shake, I have a question. You say you are protecting me by forcing this choice. But what you are really protecting is your king. You do not want him to have a human weakness. A wave of surprise went through the council. The white-haired woman smiled a little. Clever. You are correct, of course. A human soul-bound is a problem. But our laws exist for good reason. Your laws do not account for love, I interrupted. They do not account for real choice. You are telling me to either change completely or forget entirely. But there is a third option you are not saying. Lucian looked at me sharply. Isabel? Let her speak, another council member said, a man with a scar across his pale face. The bond cannot be broken, except by death, I said. And changing me into a vampire does not remove the weakness, it just changes it. So here is my choice. I remain human. But I become part of this world with full knowledge and protection. I learn to defend myself. I accept the risks. And Lucian stops being king. Gasps filled the ballroom. Abdication, the white-haired woman stood. Lucian is the first of our line. The most powerful. And unhappy, I said firmly. I have read the histories. He has ruled for 5 centuries, kept peace, built this world. Do you not think he has earned the right to choose his own happiness? Lucian's hand tightened on mine. Isabel, you do not have to. Yes, I do. I turned to face him. I saw the hope and fear fighting in his silver eyes. I am not giving up my humanity, Lucian. Not because I do not love you. I do, more than I thought possible. But I am choosing to stay human because that is what you fell in love with. That is what makes our bond special. I looked back at the council. I will age. I will die eventually. But because of Lucian's blood in my system, I will have more time than most humans. And we will make every moment count. Is a short, bright love not better than an eternity of compromise? The ballroom was silent. Then slowly the scarred council member began to laugh. 500 years I have known you, Lucian, and I have never seen you look at anyone the way you are looking at her right now. Perhaps the girl is right. Perhaps you have earned your freedom. There is a past example, another council member said thoughtfully. King Thuron gave up his throne in the 1600s for his soulbound. The white-haired woman studied me for a long moment. And you would truly be willing to live in our world as a human, knowing you will age while Lucian stays the same, watching yourself grow old while he stays forever young. Every love story ends, I said softly. At least ours will be extraordinary. Another long silence. Then the woman nodded. Very well. The council accepts your proposal on 3 conditions. First, you will train in vampire defense. Second, you will bind yourself by magic to Thornwood Manor's protections. Third, she looked at Lucian, you must choose your successor within 1 year. Lucian bowed his head. Agreed. Just like that, it was over. The council left. We were alone in the large ballroom. I cannot believe you did that, Lucian said. He pulled me into his arms. You gave up immortality for me. No, I corrected. I kept my humanity for us. There is a difference. I looked up at him. This beautiful, impossible being who had chosen me across all of time. I do not want to live forever, Lucian. I want to live fully for whatever time I have, with you. He kissed me then, really kissed me, and it was nothing like the accidental bite at the masquerade. It was a promise, a beginning, a choice we were both making with open eyes. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine. I will make every day count, he promised. Every single day you give me. I know you will, I smiled. Besides, with your blood in my system we have at least a few centuries, right? That is not too bad. He laughed. The sound was full of real joy. A few centuries with you would be worth more than an eternity with anyone else. 5 years later, I sat in Thornwood's garden. I watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. My students' latest letters sat in my lap. Even though I had moved to teaching online, I still stayed in touch with many of them. There you are, Lucian's voice came from behind me. His blonde hair caught the last light as he sat beside me on the bench. You missed the council meeting. How did it go with Marcus? I asked. I leaned into his cool arms. Your grandmother's soulbound is settling well into being king. It turns out being a vampire for 70 years makes you quite ready. She would have been proud, you know, that you found him, convinced him to take the position. I smiled. I thought of the grandmother I had never really known. She and Marcus had found each other again in my 3rd year with Lucian. Their love story had gotten a second chance. When Lucian needed to choose a successor, Marcus had been the clear choice. Any regrets? Lucian asked softly. The question he asked me at least once a year. I looked at my hands. I noted the fine lines starting to appear that would never touch his skin. In 5 years I had aged in ways that showed, while he stayed unchanged. We would probably have a few more decades before the difference became sharp, before we would have to make harder choices about my life ending. But right now, in this moment, with the sun setting and my soul bound beside me, I had no regrets at all. Not even one, I said. I turned to kiss him. Best accidental vampire bite ever. He laughed against my lips. Remind me to be clumsy more often. As the sun went below the horizon and the first stars appeared, I thought about that masquerade 5 years ago, about a red mask and a mistaken bite that had changed everything. I had chosen the harder path, the uncertain one. I had chosen to remain human in a vampire's world, to age while my love stayed forever young, to burn bright and short rather than cold and endless. And I would do it again, in a heartbeat. Because some love stories are not meant to last forever. Some are meant to burn brightly, to be treasured for every precious short moment. And that is the true lesson this story holds. In life we often face hard choices between safety and meaning, between a long, empty path and a shorter, full one. Real strength is not always in living forever or having all the power. Real strength is in knowing what makes your heart full, and choosing it with open eyes, even when it is not the easy road. Like Isabel, we can learn from the past, our own and others, and decide that love, courage, and living fully matter more than fear. That is a lesson worth carrying into every day. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe so you don't miss my next video.